Now, I'm not a vegetarian, but I do love vegetables, and I also am not a great fan of things like nut cutlets and things that look like lamb chops and all that kind of stuff. That's just me. If I'm going to have vegetables, I want to have vegetables. And this is a ripper book by Hetty Lui McKinnon. I think she lives in New York. I think she's an Aussie, but look, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think so. But it's called Tender Heart. And as you can see, my wife loves cooking vegetable dishes, and there's lots of her stickers in there, so she's made quite a few out of it. But it is a ripper book, and I'm making this, what she calls a broccoli loaf, I think. Yeah, so I'm making that today. Well, I hope it works out. I haven't made it before. I'm a bit cheeky the way I sometimes just try things out without trying them first. Well, Ruth made it, and it was pretty bloody wonderful. So, but she's a good cook. Maybe I'm not a good cook. We will see. Anyway, it's not that complicated. A few ingredients in it, but not that complicated. 185 grams of plain flour. 1 teaspoon of that baking powder, 1 tablespoon of nice raw sugar, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika or chili powder. It's up to you. I love smoked paprika, as you know. It's one of my new favourite ingredients. Half a teaspoon of turmeric and half a teaspoon of bicarb. The secret to this, according to Ruth when she made it, is you have to mix this up really well. And then 175 grams of grated tasty cheese, something with a bit of bite. I always like mainland, but of course, you know, do remember I'm a Kiwi, so obviously, well, sort of a Kiwi. Been here 50 years, guys. What does that make me? Australian, doesn't it? Anyway, the point that I'm making is mainland cheese. I always have a bit of faith in it. It's always got a bit of bite, always got lots of flavour. And I've got a small bunch here of chives, which is going to go in as well. And I've also got 65 grams of pitted black olives, which I've just chopped up. You put other things in there. Some sun-dried tomatoes would be nice, or semi-dried tomatoes. I'm not mad on sun-dried, but semi-dried tomatoes would be nice. Once again, mix that in well. Half a cup of extra virgin olive oil, 150 grams of sour cream, and 1 egg. And just whisk that together really well, just to combine it. And that goes in as well. You don't overbeat this, so you don't get your whisk in and go like mad. The idea is you just mix it until it's reasonably well mixed. You're very clever, this girl. I don't know whether this is a very clever idea. Well, I think it is anyway. Maybe because I hadn't seen it before. So just mix that in, and we've got a loaf dish or loaf tin that has been oiled or buttered and lined with baking paper. And we then put our mix in there and just press it down into the corners. And you're sitting at home saying, well, you've got the broccoli on the side of the board, what are you going to do with that? Never fear. So just press that in like that, make sure it's fairly even, and then what we do is we grab our broccoli and we press it in. So the broccoli, what I've done with that, I've cooked that in boiling, and I'm talking about rapidly boiling salted water, and I've cooked that in boiling salted water for exactly 2 minutes, and then I've run it under cold water until it's cool and drained it really well. Now this goes into the oven, 180 degrees, normal, not fan force, and we cook that for about an hour until a skewer comes out clean, and then you allow it to cool a little before unmoulding it. And you can keep it for 2 or 3 days in a sealed container. And I thought it was very clever. I haven't tried this because it didn't last in our house long enough to try it. But she suggests that you can toast it. You can cut slices and toast it. Anyway, we'll be back in about an hour to an hour and a quarter. See how I've gone. See if I've done it as well as my wife. All right, guys, let's have a look at what about my new oven? You have to be impressed by this. We had the oven on the Miele, which is I reckon for about 25 years. You'd have to be pretty proud of that if you were a manufacturer of oven, but finally gave up the ghost. So we've had to get a new one, and the difference in the cooking is quite amazing. Everything cooks exactly how it's supposed to. Now let's just have a look at this. See, that's clean. All right, what we do is we put that on a rack, still in the tray for about 10 minutes, and then we will unmould it and we'll allow it to cool and then slice it. This is looking good and it smells wonderful. All right, let's have a look and see how we've gone. Looking rather good, isn't it? I'm as biased as hell, so what do you expect? Now, I want you at home to cross your fingers for me, please. If you're watching Hetty, you too, please. Because I would hate to mess up what I consider to be is a terrific dish, particularly as my wife did such a good job of it. So let's have a look. Oh, Iain, isn't that fun with the broccoli? I think she said you could do cauliflower with it too, but isn't that fun? That looks absolutely special. To go with that, I've got a Chardonnay from King's Creed. Now, every time I buy something from the Adelaide Hills and even McLaren Vale, always seems to be made by Ben Riggs, who is the star winemaker of the region. Some of the other winemakers may disagree with me, we get a bit upset, but by bloody hell, he's a good winemaker. And so this is one of his wines. I think he, is obviously a consultant to lots of people. I'm sure he's got his own vineyards, but he's a consultant as well. And he used to be involved with my dear mate, Tony Parkinson, at Penny's Hill, which they have now sold, I know. But anyway, he used to be involved with him. Anyway, guys, a terrific dish. And as I said, I love the idea of the fact that you can keep it for a few days in an airtight container, and you can toast it if you feel like it. All right, guys, good vegetarian food. Guys, to show your support for my channel and to keep in the loop, subscribe. It's easy to do, and don't forget, it's free. Okay, cheers.